Alrighty, folks, and we're back. We're covering the year 2000 to set the scene for you. Gladiator sweeps across the globe as one of the most popular movies with high quality. It's one of those that balances itself really well. High quality, but also high entertainment and popularity as well. You have Christopher Nolan come a little bit into the scene with Memento. Guy Ritchie comes to the scene with Snatch. Requiem for a Dream completely destroys people's entire hearts and minds. But then you have a lot of really cool favorites. X-Men first appears in 2000, which obviously we're still seeing the impact of that franchise as the biggest movie of the year is partially due to all the way back in that one. American Psycho is also running amok with a great horror comedy that I absolutely adore. But then you have great movies like Castaway, Aaron Brockovich, and then you also have these bigger movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon coming over from overseas that are really setting the scene. Another one that I always found interesting is we talked about this in 1998, where Grease was re-released and made like $28 million. The Exorcist director's cut is released, and it makes literally just shy of $40 million.
Wow,
In
yeah.
2000, the director's cut is released in theaters and makes almost $40 million, like $39.67 million. Wildly impressive. And then to also set the scene of where we are, Scary Movie first appears in this year, as does the cinematic masterpiece known as Dude, Where's My Car? So,
Oh,
which
yes,
I do not think that movie's good at all, but it really captures the time period.
for
Uh,
sure, yeah.
I have just a few. This one I have barely any changes whatsoever. Just looking for some noms, almost. I have one change for art direction. I just got to double check who wins art direction that one, so I'm speaking correctly. Oh boy, art direction, art direction,
You
art
can
direction.
just talk. I can look it up.
Well, art direction is won by Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which
Okay. Don't forget, I got my book right here.
you do. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is obviously beautiful, and it has a period piece nod, but it's also so different for an American audience to watch. However, I don't think the art direction is really what speaks there. I think it's far more the visual effects and the choreography. It's not necessarily the art direction that does it. Nominated, which I think should have won because if it doesn't work, the movie doesn't work, is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action one. If that art direction doesn't work, that movie is dead on arrival. And that movie is carried by one man's performance and an enormous art direction that just makes you
Sure.
believe and buy in. Um,
Yeah.
so I would say that would be my one change is art direction. I think The Grinch wins over Crouching Tiger. Also, Gladiator is nominated, and I think I could make the argument Gladiator has a better art direction than Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But I didn't go full on that one. And then, not looking for a win, but original score, I would have thrown X-Men a nomination for their title theme because that's a great title score. So I would have thrown them a nom. I wouldn't have thrown them a change and a win, but
Okay.
it's a great theme.
I I actually only have one little note. I would have put a nomination for In the Mood for Love, which is a Chinese film, for cinematography. That's the only thing I would put in there. That's the only little change I had. Other than that, I actually think the 2000s pretty much nails it. Um, Couple things I wrote down about that ceremony itself. Steven Soderbergh was nominated twice this year for Best Director.
I did notice
Aaron
that.
Aaron Brockovich and Traffic. That's only happened once before. Um, and then this is a first in 51 years that the best picture winner didn't also pick up either a best director win or a best screenplay award. So that's like I didn't realize there was that big of a gap in between
You
that.
knew there'd be a gap, but to be that big of a gap is quite
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah, and then apparently supporting actress was a big shock, I guess, because everyone expected Kate Hudson to win for Almost Famous,
Which she's great in.
which which it would have been a better story because it would have mirrored her mom, Goldie Hawn, winning.
Yeah.
Because Goldie Hawn won for Cactus Flower, which was like, it wasn't her first movie, but it was like her first big breakout role.
It's her coming out party as an actress kind of thing.
Yeah, and then that Kate Hudson's in Almost Famous. That's exactly that's what she is in that.
Yeah.
Like she had done like minor roles, but not anything big.
Yeah. I love Kate Hudson.
It would have been.
I love Kate Hudson.
It would
She's
have been a
underrated
cool,
in
like
stuff.
little. Yeah, it would have been a cool little mirroring moment in history.
Okay. Who wins our big six here?
So, big six. Director, Steven Soderbergh, Traffic. Actor, Russell Crowe, Gladiator.
Fair.
Actress, Julia Roberts, Aaron Brockovich.
Fair.
Supporting actor, Benicio del Toro, Traffic.
Can't speak on that one.
And supporting actress, Marcia Gay Harden for Pollock.
Can't speak on that one. But
so
both best actor and best actress are so abundantly clear that it's like, yeah, that's them. They deserve it.
Yeah. Pollock is, I think, the only film in this entire thing we're going to do in this entire 30-year gap that I have not seen. So I cannot speak on best supporting actress, whether or not she deserved it over at Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson's great in Almost Famous. She's great in that movie.
I'm assuming Marcia Gay Harden is great in Pollock because she's usually great in everything she's in.
She's pretty fucking talented, yes.
Yeah. I only had one change here. Did you have any changes?
No changes on the big six.
Okay. I changed director from Steven Soderbergh to Ang Lee for Crouching Tiger.
I could understand that one. However, for the bit, I almost wish you would have said, I'm changing it from Steven Soderbergh to Steven Soderbergh. It would have been funny to get that. But no, I could understand that for Ang Lee for Crouching Tiger. That's a completely different film.
Yeah, and then just a couple shout-outs I wanted to give. Billy Crudup in Almost Famous. He's great. Jim Carrey in The Grinch.
He deserves a lot of credit for that performance.
I think that performance is like incredibly underrated. Like I don't get how he doesn't get more credit for that movie.
Because it's a kids movie, and there is a subsection of people that find that movie really off-putting because of all the physical makeup and things that they have people in.
I guess. Sure.
Now, granted, that is easily one of my favorite movies of that era. I was obsessed with that movie. I mean, shit, where is it? So, very random. Picture from our youth, from our childhood, right? The back of it?
Yeah.
That was the card I made for myself in 3rd grade where you had to use your picture and make something about your identity. I put the Grinch on the fucking thing. Like... to show how much I loved that movie at the time.
Hey, just because I'm curious, can you tell what shirt I'm wearing in that?
Yeah, you'll take a wild guess. It's green. It's green and gold, and it's clearly a receiver number. Take your pick, because I know who it is. Obviously,
I'm guessing it's either Freeman or Donald Driver.
It's 1,000% Antonio Freeman. Which I forgot to tell you when we just went to Lambeau. They did Alumni Day. And so they brought out a bunch of guys from all the different last couple decades. And it went 60s onward. And naturally, I think the biggest pop was for Antonio Freeman in the 90s. They brought Antonio out and everyone lost their fucking minds. Like, it's our boy!
Yeah,
so
he's the best.
It was him and Leroy Butler got the biggest cheers. So it was interesting and fun to see. I love having that. I don't know what it is. It's like one of the few sentimental things I always keep around is that picture of where we came from in the neighborhood. 'Cause it's just like all of us together.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So, as I wear my Digimon t-shirt. So, big deal here.
Yeah.
Really into creature stuff.
Couple more shout-outs. Michelle Yeoh in Crouching Tiger.
Michelle Yeoh in everything because she's amazing.
Yeah. And then I'm going to butcher her name here. Maggie Chung in The Mood for Love, and then Joey Pantleon, Pantoliano.
Leone.
Yeah, for Memento.
Okay.
He's great in that. For best supporting actor, those are the shout outs I got.
Okay. No changes
And
whatsoever?
then just the Ang Lee one.
Yeah, okay.
And then for best picture, actual nominees, we got Gladiator as the winner, Chocolat, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Aaron Brockovich, and Traffic.
So,
And also, it should be noted that there was many conspiracy theories that Miramax bought their way into the nomination for Chocolate.
so I was just about to say, I have seen the vast majority of that movie because
I enjoy that movie, actually.
because it was a middle-aged white lady movie of huge note because of the context of the movie. I find it really interesting that that movie, first of all, the vast majority of people who watch it don't like it, which is, I don't know, I haven't watched it all the way through, but I've seen a good portion of it. But it's been so long that I can't comment and be like, oh, yeah, that movie's good or that movie's bad. But I find it really interesting that it gets a Best Picture nom, and yet it's such it's such a performance-based movie, and yet none of the performers are even nominated. So it's just like one of those, you're like, what?
Well, it didn't get nominated for much of anything. So that's the weird part.
So yeah, and that's why all of a sudden they're getting a Best Picture nom. You're like,
that's called Miramax campaigning for you.
it's just such a problem. Just that's why you got to. Honestly, it's not even a pub for us. It's a pub for any podcast that does stuff like this. That's why I loved AMC Movie Talk or Collider when they would get into stuff like this when we were heavily watching or listening to their stuff. You got to do this kind of stuff, and you can't always go with exactly what the Academy's going on because it's like bullshit like that where it's like campaigning. You're like, we know for a fact this movie doesn't belong. We know it doesn't belong in this.
Yeah, for my personal rankings, also, I looked for so long yesterday. I looked for like an hour because I know somewhere, unless I threw it out, which I don't know why I would have, but because I started my Oscars journey when I was in high school.
Yes.
I had somewhere a ranking. I rated all the Best Picture winners, and it was from like 2015 to 2017 where I finished all of them, and I had them rated. And I was trying to find that, and I could not find it for the life of me. And I was like, God damn it, because I wanted to compare it to what I have it rated now.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's changed a lot.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, but I have Gladiator as a 7, Chocolat as a 6, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is a spoiler for what I'm about to tell you. Is an 8.5.
Wow. Okay.
Aaron Brockovich 7.5.
Great movie.
And Traffic as a 7.5 as well.
Fair. So you think Gladiator is the second worst of all of those pictures?
Yes.
Which is saying a lot because 7 still, and you're a tough evaluator, so 7 is actually really good for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I would actually say it's because I would take out what the changes I would make for how we going into the next segment.
Yeah.
I would give Best Picture to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Okay.
I love that movie. I did not love it when I first saw it. I just rewatched it like 6 months ago, and I was amazed how much I loved it.
Okay.
And then I would take out Chocolat and put in The Mood for Love.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't think anyone could really argue some of those changes unless they're a Miramax campaigner. So, what are you going to do?
Unless we got Harvey Weinstein listening, I don't think most people are going to go.
I think he's got bigger problems to deal with right now than listening to our podcast. And Harvey, if you are listening, fuck you. You suck. Yeah. But you know what? I think he's got bigger problems to deal with than us right now.
Yeah.
I'll start with the favorites here. There was, again, it's kind of a 3-way mesh point of mood. I think if I had to choose one, oddly, I'm gonna go with Mel Gibson's The Patriot. I don't know what it is about that movie.
Ah,
It's a kind of a comfort movie that I put on, and I like paying attention to
hey,
period pieces. And
that got a couple of surprise nominations
it's a
to
good
me.
movie. It is a very good movie. It's just problematic now with its lead. Um, I adore The Patriot. I love American Psycho. Shocking. Um,
Sure.
oh, that is one. Did American Psycho get an adapted screenplay nom? Because if it didn't,
My,
I think it did. But if it
my guess
didn't,
is no.
that's bullshit. Because American Psycho is phenomenal.
No, it did not.
Didn't even get a nom. Come on now.
No.
All right, I do have one extra change. American Psycho at least deserves a nomination for adapted screenplay. What won adapted screenplay?
It was Traffic.
I don't know enough about Traffic to say it doesn't deserve it,
Traffic deserves it.
but American Psycho's fucking phenomenal and deserves a nomination. And obviously, we already talked about it. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's such a sentimental film for me. I adore
Right.
that movie. It's one of the few Christmas movies that I actually will watch and enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, we already talked about this on another episode, in which one day we're gonna do Christmas movies for people who don't like Christmas. It's one of
Mhm.
the one of the few Christmas movies that I can actually watch and enjoy and not go, Jesus fucking Christ, this sucks. It's such a and Jim Carrey's performance, like you said, is phenomenal. If I had to pick one in terms of more recent viewing, it's probably The Patriot, but American Psycho and How the Grinch Stole Christmas are obviously. And then Remember the Titans is always, it's one of those movies that if you ever see it
Sure.
on, you're like, I ain't turning it off. I'm watching the rest of
Yeah.
the movie.
Are you a Gladiator person? Do you enjoy that movie?
I do enjoy Gladiator quite a bit. I just don't.
Okay.
Gladiator is one of those movies that I think I've seen now maybe only 2-3 times. And when it pops up and I'm in the mood for it, because I'm such a mood watcher, when it pops up on a streaming service and I love going to back and watching epics and bigger productions, when that pops up and I'm in the mood, I'm like, fuck yeah, Gladiator. But that strikes so little with the timing that I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think the
excited
more
for
I've
Gladiator
seen
2 at all. Which,
Yeah, the more I've seen it, I think the less I like it, honestly.
interesting.
Which might just be like one of those things where like I've seen it a lot, so it just gets old. Maybe
I get you.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I need to take a break from it for 10 years or so.
A 10-year break.
Could be that.
A 10-year break from a 20-year-old film. Almost
Yeah,
25-year-old
I don't
film
know.
at this point. And obviously, we're most likely going to have to watch that in the next month or two for when Gladiator 2 is released. So, just to kind of speak
Oh
on
yeah,
the
I
movie a
totally
little bit.
forgot about that. Oh God.
Yeah, with Denzel
Actually,
Washington as a
Yeah.
Roman figure with ear piercings, like he's out of the hood, is interesting. But
From what I've seen, it doesn't look awful.
I watched the trailer finally, but
I've only seen pictures.
to me, just this is another spoiler for down the road. We are going to do a podcast about or franchises that shouldn't be a franchise, movies that don't need a sequel, because
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Gladiator 2 just screams you did not need a sequel. What about
Yeah.
Gladiator says you needed a sequel? Which is why I love that Russell Crowe, every time it's brought up, he's like, stop talking about Gladiator 2. Nobody wants Gladiator 2. It doesn't have to happen. I'm not doing another Gladiator 2. And then Ridley Scott's like, I'm making another Gladiator 2. And Russell Crowe has nothing to do with it. So it's like,
Well, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
there. What's your favorite movie of 2000?
Oh, definitely Crouching Tiger.
I was going to say it's
100%.
probably Crouching Tiger, but I have actually never seen Crouching Tiger all the way through.
It's amazing.
It looks really up my alley, so it's one of those that I'm always like, one of these days, but
Hey, it's got Michelle Yeoh. You'll love it.
it's got Michelle Yeoh. Pretty much any movie that has Michelle Yeoh immediately jumps to the front of the line of like, yeah, I'm probably gonna love this. I love Chow
Yeah.
Yun Fat. Gigi Yang, I believe is her name. I love her in almost everything I've ever seen her in. There's not a bad cast member in that movie. show that anything I've ever seen them in, I'm like, even if I don't like the movie entirely, or I think the movie that they're in is kind of meh, I love them in it. So I'm like, wow, it's got to be good.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie too.